Despite the importance of security in Internet of Things systems, most of the time many developers ignore the implementation of a security plan in their design. Most of the time, any software development project, especially IoT, where multiple hardware and software combine together to come up with a design, is rushed, and then finally the final product is usually come to the market without sufficient security measures. One reason is, of course, the time to market. There's a rush to get it to the market and earn revenue because companies cannot survive without the initial revenues. So usual approach is that you get to the market faster and then think about somehow get the revenue and iteratively improve security. So improving security iteratively is okay, but you need to understand that when you're doing or implementing security later, it could sometimes cost a lot, and also it could harm your brand because if some compromise happen in between, you release your software to the you release your security updates, then the entire brand name could get hurt, and then could be fatal to your company. So if you look at IoT products domain, they are especially vulnerable, and they fail to encrypt the video streams and release the firmware updates. This is an issue that somewhat complicated because of the end users as well, because updating a firmware is not sometimes as straightforward as updating a software. Because of the constraints of the hardware in IoT, end users probably need to involve more actively, pressing buttons and doing certain tasks in a certain way to do the updates. Because in a user interface, you can have a clear update button. But imagine your IoT product has like only one button for everything. You probably need to press it in a certain way, in a certain frequencies in order to trigger the update process, which is sometimes difficult for the end users. So that is one of the challenges that the IoT domain faces, especially compared to the mobile or a desktop domain. And also sometimes the communication between the client and server done in a plain text, and the password is secured, stored unsecurely in local device. So I have put a video here that talk about a hypothetical IoT attacks, a kind of a small futuristic scenario. But please pause this video and go and watch this IoT attack video. There are a number of reasons why security in IoT is quite challenging. First, it adds more extra devices to the network, which means that you need to increase the number of network connectivity. And then they also use different type of protocols and then intermediary devices, which means you increase the attack surface. Then you also need to have extra programming to direct the devices and the networking together. Then there are large volumes of data that need to be sent out to the cloud and be sent back to the devices. And increasingly, there are devices and machine-to-machine communication is required, and they need to make autonomous decisions, which can be influenced and compromised by third parties. So each of these layers brings additional security challenges. It is important to plan and design during the design phase and embed the security by design during that phase rather than waiting for a later upgrade. Another major issue is that most of the IoT devices are very small and low powered, and therefore it is difficult for these devices to invest resources for securing themselves. In addition to the security, there's also a privacy aspect for the data collected by these devices, because these devices are so ubiquitous. They collect a lot of information about us, And then if they get compromised, there's a significant ethical and privacy issues that could arise from that. Due to the fact that IoT technology is new, as well as they are developing quite rapidly, the development outweighs the governance and the regulation required, which means that for many individuals and companies, it is difficult to understand what are the threats during the development time because of the immaturity of the domain as well. In addition to the computer side of the security, you also need to think about the physical security because of the devices are deployed out in the open areas. For example, if you are putting sensors in smart cities where you put on light poles or on the ground to detect parking spaces, then you need to think about both intentional and environmental sort of international. Intentional means the vandalism kind of threats, and then nature means the water or any other natural impact that could happen on the devices. Especially the impact is higher if the attacks are carried out on critical infrastructure such as energy, health, transportation, finance. And the data they collect may also be very sensitive. For example, if it is health data or financial data, that could reveal quite a lot of personal information. Therefore, the cybersecurity has a direct link to privacy protection as well. We can use a layered approach to understand the security in IoT better. So we can divide the IoT systems into 3 segments: devices, network, and the cloud. Each one have unique as well as shared security threats. In the cloud, one of the key priorities are to prevent misuse of data and keep the private data private. Then you need to think about protect data from being stolen or corrupted. Thirdly, the machine-to-machine interactions must be robust and secure. Here we are talking about the machines connected to each other through the cloud. Then in the network layer, we need to protect network devices from unauthorized contact. We need to secure the network and protect the wireless network. We also need to think about machine-to-machine interaction to be secured. Here we are talking about machines use local networks without the cloud communication. And then you need to think about data theft, protecting data from being stolen, corrupted, and then thinking about any additional security risk when they are connecting things to the internet. So will anyone intercept the data in the middle of the network? In the devices, we need to think about being hacked or broken. And we also need to think about hacked and misuse. So protect devices from being hacked and use it and pretending to be someone else or some other device. So stolen devices as well as stolen data.